I'm Steve Anderson, engineer here at Merrill Manufacturing Company. What I'm here today is to go over some of the frequently asked questions, and one of the questions that comes up is, why do I not need to dig up a hydrant to make a repair? Well, actually, you don't need to dig up any of the Merrill yard hydrants, none of them. They're all designed and built the same way to provide the purpose that they're completely serviceable without digging the hydrant up. So the question, of course, was, how do I do it? Well, basically, to do it, to replace the plunger, where here's a plunger for an anti-flow, here's a plunger for C1000 models and some other models that we have that are very similar. To replace the plunger, obviously, you can see the plungers down here in the bottom in the valve body. And should there be rock, sand, gravel, whatever debris of any kind that ends up getting washed down the lines, especially when they add new lines, they quite often don't flush them out and you'll have debris wash down. It's always going to end up wherever the valve is that the water flows. So it's going to end up inside the valve body and against the plunger, and then it'll rip up the plunger, and then sometimes it won't completely seal and shut the water off as it's supposed to. So now you need to replace the plunger. So people will think, well, I got to dig up the hydrant. Well, no, you don't need to dig up the hydrant. The idea is they're all designed the same way. You put a wrench here in the pipe, you put a wrench on the head casting, and you unscrew the head casting off the pipe. Of course, before you do that, of course, you got to shut the water line off, because you don't want a fountain spraying on you when you're trying to take it apart. So anyway, you shut the water line off, check it to make sure that the water's not flowing, or you let all the pressure off the system, off the line, and when it stops flowing, then okay, now you can go and unscrew the tube, pull the insides out, pull the rod up inside, unscrew the plunger off of the rod, screw on a new plunger, and put it back down. Well, the other thing is, I should have mentioned, before you unscrew this, it's wise to put a piece of tape right here underneath the head, and then make a little mark on your head casting, and you'll know right where you're supposed to screw the head casting back down to just touch the tape, and hopefully come close to lining up the marks. So you'll know that you got it back in the same alignment, because the length of the insides and the length of the pipe and the valve body and the head on the outside is important, very important. So you want it in proper adjustment so you don't have to do any other adjustments up here. If you can do that and replace the plunger, 99.9% of the time, you took care of everything that you're going to need. And the only other thing you should probably do, is a wise thing, when you pull the insides out, pull the plunger out and the rod inside, turn the water back on just for a few seconds, let it flush all the debris and junk that's probably down in there out up through the top. You're going to have kind of a vertical geyser coming out for a little bit. Then shut the water line back off, go ahead and put the rod in the plunger, screw it back on, and back to the line, your mark on the tape. You should be good to go, and that should be all you need to do. That's it. Thanks.